How much do you know about K-food? How much hanchik have you eaten? We invite you into the world of Korean food, of course, including the history and culture of it. We'll introduce trendy foods and sometimes famous restaurants on Dish of the Day with Chef Ryan Phillips. Good morning, Ryan, live from Ilsan KINTEX at SEOUL FOOD 2026.
Hey, Peter, how you doing, brother?
I am very well. You're looking snazzy as ever in your apron, your chef whites, and your big old cowboy hat indoors.
Yeah, I want to be able to see there. Now I can see you too. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm very well. You look like you're busy, scoffing a few things before we got on air as well, I saw.
Oh, you're not supposed to tell people that. Come on, Peter.
So it's how many times have you been there now in a row?
This must be the 5th in a row. Yeah, working for the Brazilian embassy and all these vendors here. And maybe I can introduce you to some of them here in a minute.
Wow.
But yeah, me and a Brazilian friend. You know, I lived in Brazil for a few years and love it a lot down there. And so they let me pretend to be Brazilian for a week every year. But it's not all about Brazil. There's actually over 50 different countries represented here this year.
Wow.
And in all the 5 years, Peter, I've never, ever been all the way to the other side.
You've never made it?
I've made it about halfway. One time I ran into Sam Hamilton about halfway down.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever gone any further than that because It's just so huge. I mean, to really soak up this whole event, it kind of takes 2 days, I think. You know.
And you're there for how long?
And through Friday, but Friday's a half day. So we've got 3 full days and then Friday finishes off a little bit earlier. We've got this little kitchen here and a lot of people share it because some of the vendors have brought things from Brazil like acai, right? And they need to be kept frozen.
Nice.
Yeah, here we go. So this one is just the one with the banana. There's another one that has guaraná, this fruit from the Amazon that's kind of acts like caffeine.
Yeah.
It can help wake you up. It's a nice sweet flavor.
Oh, acai is becoming pretty, well, it's already been big in Korea, I'd say, for a couple of years. And that acai berry bowl where you've got like the frozen acai in it. I tried it. It's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. And it gives you a nice little pick-me-up. That's healthy. You know, it's not like a sugar rush.
No.
It just kind of helps you wake up and feel better without getting jittery or anything.
It is really good for the summertime as well because it's so cold. I had it, I think, when it was a bit cooler, and I was like, yeah, in the summer this is going to taste really good, so I'll get back onto that soon. So yeah, this week, Ryan, not in the studio, and it's not going to be a focus on Korean food because he's over at this SEOUL FOOD 2026, which is apparently the largest food exhibition in South Korea, organised by KOTRA, which does the trade for the country as well, and it's one of the top 4 trade fairs in Asia. So you're having a little wander around and you've got cooking.
I'd love to introduce you to some of these guys, but yeah, just to give you an idea, I mean, we've got Peru on one side, we've got Taiwan on another. Wow. There's Italy, Poland, and Guatemala over there. Costa Rica right here next to me, Tanzania. I mean, it just goes on and on. And because this is our 5th year doing this, we've got friends that we'll see only once a year at this thing. And like every year I get caviar from Poland.
Nice.
You know, I'll get rum from the Cuban guys. You know, get cheese from the Scandinavian countries or for Denmark.
Wow.
Get some and these are products that you can't get in Korea yet anyway, because that's why they're here. They're trying to make deals to have things imported or exported, right?
Wow.
And so from Brazil mostly, we've got different meats. We've got chicken and beef and pork. Beef still isn't coming in, but we've got pork and chicken already.
Really?
Then there's peanuts here with amendoin or peanuts.
Ooh.
This is Mateos. You want to say
hello,
hi?
Mateos? Yeah. Nice to meet you. With some peanuts.
This is my first time meeting Mateos. Have you been doing a lot of these kind of conventions this year? First one. Parabéns. Congratulations.
Nice.
And
coming all the way
different-
from Brazil.
you came all the way from Brazil for this trade show.
Wow.
Welcome. And boa sorte, good luck with everything today. Thanks, man.
Can I ask you a question, Ryan?
Yes, sure.
About chicken, because
Yes.
I met a Brazilian and we were comparing the best foods from the UK and Brazil. And one thing she said is that Brazilian chickens are amazing, but isn't chicken chicken?
No, it really depends on their diet. But let me let these guys tell you more than me. So Peter here, we're on a live show that's Arirang. It's kind of like public broadcast in Korea, but it's all in English. Would you guys like to say anything in English about your chicken products today?
Chicken is a very healthy plant and everyone should eat more chicken because it's delicious, it's side, it's very good for you. Actually, everyone should eat.
Is there any particular
We
thing
should
that
eat
might
more
be
chicken.
different about Brazilian chicken or about this chicken from you guys? Is there anything, maybe the diet that they have or anything like that?
Chicken is
Uh-huh.
God, Brazil is very
Strict. Yeah.
Can you summarize, Ryan? Because it's on your earpod, so it's not coming through.
She's saying that the regulations, the Brazilian government is very strict, and so the chicken's very safe and of a high quality.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good timing.
Thanks,
You got
guys.
chickens
Thank you, guys.
in the little thing there, right? Display chickens.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, I think these might be made of something else.
Yes, of course.
But you know.
Fantastic. Because she was saying like Brazilians are pretty proud of their chicken, and I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, the chickens in Korea, we've often said it on the show, Ryan, haven't we, that they're quite small for the most part compared to maybe chickens you can get elsewhere.
Yeah, and I think that has to do with diet and hormones. I don't know exactly what kind of hormones are given. You got to say hi to David. This is my buddy.
Hello, David.
This is
Who's
my buddy.
flown over,
David,
right?
David flew all the way over from El Salvador. His wife has a job with the UN there, and so they're there for like 2.5 years or something. Yeah.
Amazing.
But he flew over with 2 12-hour layovers on the way to be
goodness.
here for this week.
Wow.
And if he hadn't have done that, I wouldn't be here because we wouldn't have gotten the gig together if it wasn't the two of us.
Yeah,
You know, so
fantastic.
anyway, thanks, buddy. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, David. What are you guys cooking this time around? Is it similar menu to last year?
Yeah, right now we've just got breakfast out. But yeah, you remember the pão de queijo? Do you
The
remember
cheesy
those?
things.
Yeah, the cheese breads.
Yes.
So I mean, it's not real elaborate right now, but
It still looks good.
little ham and cheese sandwiches and pão de queijo, and then pastel is a deep fried kind of cheese mandu,
Oh,
you know, if you will.
yes.
And that's just for breakfast with Brazilian coffee. And then after that, we've got full Brazilian lunch. Bom dia, tudo bom? We've got a full Brazilian lunch after that with rice and feijoada and vinaigrettes and collard greens, aka couve. And we've got other dishes for the afternoon snacks. We do more than what we're contracted to do because I tell you, it really does feel like community, almost like summer camp in a way.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
that's nice. Everyone
Because-
there.
A lot of these folks we only see once a year. And Rodrigo, you want to say hi to Arirang?
Hello.
Come on. Rodrigo here is my best buddy at the Brazilian embassy.
Oh, nice. Hello, Rodrigo.
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Rodrigo as well. Thanks, man.
Fantastic.
Good to see you. Yeah. When you go to the American embassy, it's very serious and very intense, and going through security is so tough. And when you go to the Brazilian embassy, you just feel so welcome and part of the place. So
That's
just a totally different vibe. It's lovely.
And so the food that you're cooking there, Ryan, is it stuff that they're trying to sell, or is that just like Brazilian cuisine to welcome people to the booth and stuff?
A little of both. So what we're doing is mainly feeding the staff here, the embassy staff, and the folks that have come as vendors.
Yeah.
The government, the Brazilian government, is supporting their ventures.
Yeah.
International business is good for Brazil, right? So they help them out a lot. So we need to feed them. But then also, some of the vendors ask us to help them promote their products. And so one of my favorite, maybe I'm not supposed to play favorites, but I'll go ahead and do it anyway. I've tried all the different meats, and this one company, SEOUL, I'm going to get in trouble for this, but there's one company here, SEOUL, their pork belly is amazing. It's really, really good.
Wow.
And I put it in my smoker and smoke it, and then we bring it here and sous vide it, and then just kind of crisp up the edges on the griddle.
Yeah.
And give it out as samples. And that way, folks, you're not just looking at meat in a case. You actually get to taste it. And pork belly is so important in Korea.
Yeah.
It's some really good pork belly.
Fantastic. Okay, we'll be back in part 2, Ryan. So we just keep following you on the camera. You can do your work as well if you need to.
I'll try to give you a little tour while we're over the break, okay?
Nice. Okay, here's On You with Into You. We're back for a special edition of Dish of the Day with Chef Ryan in not the studio, but over in Ilsan, KINTEX for SEOUL Food 2026, where you got thousands of companies from over 50 countries across loads of booths in different zones as well. And we had a question from Siska saying, is it only from Latin countries? Because those were the ones you mainly mentioned, Ryan, but I guess those are the ones in your vicinity. But we saw Poland as well, and it's an international food expo, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, not just Latin countries at all. Everybody's here. I've even seen countries that I've never seen before. Uzbekistan has a huge booth this year. I've never seen that. Cuba. Cuba's kind of having a tough year this year if you follow the news.
Yeah.
But they have a pretty big booth here as well. And they probably need it.
Wow.
The way things have been going down there lately.
So it's all done by country, is it? And then within the country's booths, there are different private firms who are trying to get their food out there.
It's not necessarily done by country because there's quite a few that are separate from the country booth. Like even if there is a country booth, there'll be a side booth that's just for another company that just kind of was representing their own company rather than the country itself.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you get both.
Nice. Yeah. And I'm looking up some info online. So correct me if I'm wrong. Is there a domestic pavilion as well that has like Korean foods there as well?
I think it's all mixed in because as I was walking around just now, I saw a lot of Korean taste. So it's definitely not just foreigners in this giant room that I'm in now.
Yeah. Just anything food goes basically.
Right. And even kitchen equipment as well. Not just food, but I've seen ovens and all kinds of machines that can help make your life easier if you're working in the food and beverage industry.
And so the people that are attending, are they mostly like industry people rather than chefs and people who work in the business?
Yeah, I would say, it's a lot of sales, deal makers, but I do often see my cohorts of the food and beverage industry in Seoul because it's a great place to find like a product that's maybe going to be in Korea soon, but isn't here yet.
Nice.
The tortillas I use constantly, I found my contact here and met the direct importer. And because of that, I pay about 50% less when I have to buy tortillas and I can't make them out for flour or for corn. And they're better quality than anything else I'd seen before that.
Wow.
So it's nice. It's nice to make friends at these things. It's cool.
Absolutely, yeah. Halciorino, our Brazilian listener, says, I'm loving all the talk about Brazil and the region that I live in. It's very big when it comes to chicken confinements. Many family businesses actually depend on it. Wow, I did not know Brazil was so big with chicken.
Producer.
That's amazing.
Well, actually, the largest amount of chicken consumed in Korea that is not domestic is Brazilian.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. Then after that, I think it goes Thailand. But Brazil definitely has the lion's share of the imports to here of chicken.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a great price. It's about half or even less than half the price of the domestic chicken for the Brazilian imported frozen.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, big difference.
And I don't know if this is exclusive to Korea, but obviously here we really value kuksan. So things that are domestically produced will value for quality, and just the fact that it's come from Korea, that applies to fruits and meats and whatnot. But there are some things that we do rely on for imports. I think 골뱅이 is one of them, like the sea snails. We get a lot of those from like the UK waters and stuff like that. Siska saying, are there any Southeast Asian country booze there? Is Indonesia there? She's asking.
Oh, absolutely. I just walked by Thailand. Yeah, I haven't seen Indonesia yet, Siska, but I know Thailand's just around the corner from here. I'll have to look around again on the next break, though. I'll do that for you, Siska.
Fantastic. Okie dokie. Are you going to show us anything in the kitchen, Rai, or what do you want to do up next?
I'm in my little closet kitchen right now.
Lovely.
You know? We had to reorganize it last night to make sure we were getting all ready for this.
Yeah.
But yeah,
tight.
I mean, it's tricky because I'm used to dealing with giant fryers. We've got these little like home use ones and this little griddle and a little electric range.
Wow.
Of course, you can't have any fire here. You know, everything's got to be electric or sous vide.
Yeah.
I got this wimpy little oven.
That you'll find in Korean houses as well, yeah.
Yeah, and in Brazil, people eat rice every day, like in Korea. And so we've got 3 rice cookers because it's easier to have 3 small ones than to have 1 big one because there's no place to put a big one. But it's easier to find space to put the small ones.
Wow. Do they use rice cookers in Brazil as well then, like Korean-style kind of rice cookers?
Actually, man, I believe it hasn't changed. People are still mostly doing pressure cookers.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then just cooking it like that manually. Wow.
Yeah. Let me ask a real Brazilian. Eu tô aqui falando com o pessoal ao vivo nesse programa e querem saber se gente no Brasil ainda agora está usando uma máquina como essa para cozinhar o arroz. Ou se ainda estão com panela de pressão.
Oh, we're going to find out the latest Brazilian rice trends. Here we go.
Okay, compressão. Obrigado. So she said that they are starting to use the rice cookers more and more, but definitely they use the pressure cooker for the beans because where we don't eat many beans here in Korea, it's rice and beans every day in Brazil, and they're so good. They're so good. We're cooking feijoada today, which is based with black beans. That's going to be the lunch for everybody today.
You need that in a pressure cooker. Like a rice cooker is a little bit weak for that.
If you wanna cook them in less than 3 hours, yes, sir.
Oh wow, that's how long it would take. Amazing. The Brazilian rice, though, it's not strictly the same as the Korean sticky rice, right?
No. Brazilian rice is a long grain rice, and it's also done kind of like rice pilaf style. So you rinse the rice, but then kind of dry it.
Yeah.
Fry some onions and maybe some garlic, or at least garlic and salt, and then throw that washed but dried rice in there and fry that with oil until it gets a nice coating of oil on it. And when it gets a good coating, what happens is the rice can release starch and take in water a little slower, so that long grain rice can puff a whole lot. If you don't do that process, that long grain rice will split, and you end up with a mushy, not so attractive rice.
And then you put that into the rice cooker.
Yes, you can then put that into the rice cooker and then add on boiling water. If you put on cold water, it'll kind of shock the starches and it's not so good. But add on boiling water and then close the rice cooker and then just, it's really fast since you've already fried the rice and it's hot and you're throwing on boiling water. You're talking about 10, 12 minutes tops. And it should come out perfect.
Wow, that's way more complicated than what we do with our rice here. You know, you're just washing it raw in the bowl and then cooking it for like 15 minutes in the express ones these days.
Right. Well, I tell you, though, I had a neighbor from Iran, in my building years ago. She was studying a master's program at the university next door, and their style of doing rice is even more complicated. Have you ever seen Persian rice?
No, how's that done?
Oh man, it's so cool. So you take saffron and butter and you kind of muddle the saffron with a little water in a mortar and pestle, then fry that with some butter. But the rice itself, you boil it with a bunch of water for I don't know how long, and then throw that water away and then put more water on it with just the right amount and stir in that butter saffron and then cook it really, really low temperature for about an hour. And you end up having nurungji, or I think in Iran they call it tzatziki or something like that. And it's just crust. So you can dump out the pan, and it takes the whole form of the pan all the way around with a crispy outer edge that everybody fights over.
That sounds really delicious,
It was so good, but I never did. I still haven't mastered the ability to do the Persian rice personally, because it is. I've tried a few times and I can never wait. I'm always too impatient. I can't quite, be patient enough to wait the full hour. I dump out the pan and I don't have the full form yet.
Yeah, I can imagine. Apparently, one of the main themes of the exhibition this year is about AI robotics and the era of food tech conversions. As a hands-on farmer, Ryan, are you doing anything AI related or robotics related with your foods?
No, not yet, man. But I have talked to folks about it.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta tell you one farming thing that just happened. You know the magpies or the kachise, right?
Right.
I told you we planted 1,500 with the international school students. We planted 1,500 corn seeds, and they already sprouted in just 3 days.
Wow.
And so when they sprouted, I had to lay them out, right? Because they're growing, and you can't have them covered, because then how's the corn going to grow up if it's covered up, right? We have an army of magpies out at the new farm.
Oh, no.
And they annihilated the 1,500 baby corn plants.
What are you going to do about them?
Well, I'm going to have to build a rig with a screen that holds the screen a few inches above the soil, but then hopefully I'll still be able to water them through that. I don't know. I got to figure out something. It was heartbreaking though. I went out there yesterday morning to water before coming up here, and I was like, "Oh, you darn magpies, because they just destroyed it. Then they didn't even eat the corn. It was like they were like, yeah, you think you can manipulate nature? I'll show you manipulating nature."
Oh dear,
man.
that's sad. We'll be back with one final segment after this next song, right? This is Pateco and Shirt with Love or Cool. We're taking a look around KINTEX for SEOUL FOOD 2026. I mean, strictly speaking, KINTEX is in Ilsan, which is not in Seoul, but this is the largest food exhibition that takes place in Korea. And we saw a whole plethora of countries' booths there, lots from Southeast Asia I saw as well, Ryan.
Found Indonesia.
Yay, thank you. Cisco will be happy. And Noor, our Malaysian listener, says, I saw you just pass by the Malaysian booth, and a shout out to the Philippines as well.
There we go. See, everybody's here.
Is that the first day? So this is the first morning of the exhibition?
It is. You can feel it. You know, everybody's a little bit on edge, because the first day is usually when ambassadors will come, or embassy folks, or the bosses, you know. So everybody's a little bit on edge. I think I'm so lucky because I'm with the Brazilians. They're much more laid back and tend to take things in stride. But even here, you can kind of feel it because it's first day jitters, you know. People are getting over jet lag coming in from all over the place. And yeah,
it's looking like it's just kind of ramping up, and I'm guessing the next couple of days are going to be the busiest, and then maybe on Friday, just for the half day, like you said, maybe some regular people. I think if you are just a regular civilian, like not in the industry, you can still go, right? You can still, is there like a ticket to entry and things like this?
Oh, absolutely. And I think on one of the days during the week, it's free, I believe. Maybe it's Thursday.
Nice.
I think so. I think so. But otherwise, it's maybe $15 or something like that to get in.
Yeah.
And they do ask you put on your badge if you're an industry person or just a consumer or what it may be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. I've made a lot of friends here over the years.
And then if you're lucky, I know a lot of those exhibitions that I've been to, you can snag a few freebies. Like sometimes they're giving things out, samples at least, or something like that.
That is that's kind of what it becomes all about. Especially, I mean, people get here with their luggage full of these product samples. Yeah. And what's the point in taking them back? There's like no point. So one year there was a gentleman from Australia pushing these new kind of like healthy protein, or not protein bars, but healthy like fiber bars or something. I think I gave you some that year.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But they were so good. They were so good. And those things can be expensive. And we became friends with this gentleman because we were feeding him every day. And he wound up giving me cases and cases of those things. So every year I've messaged him, hey man, are you coming back to the fair this year? He's like, no, sorry, no. But other folks do come back, and it's just a lot of fun.
Are there not many other countries that have people like you like cooking on site then?
I know Guatemala has a little kitchen. And I just saw, who was it? There are quite a few. There are quite a few that have set up, some more elaborate than ours. Some of them, like years ago, our first 2 years doing this for the Brazilian embassy, we were cooking for the masses. Anybody could walk up during certain hours.
Yeah.
No, actually, all day long, it would be something. But during lunchtime, when we were shelling out rice, beans, not just beans, but feijoada, the beans with all the meats in a stew, with all the accoutrements, all the different toppings and stuff. A lot of food. The last 2 years, though, we've just been doing it this way, where we take care of the vendors here and the staff.
Yeah. So it's not like a place where you're going to go and have like a food court experience where if you want to go for lunch or something, there's like an option to buy food or anything.
If what you're into is trying different interesting foods, I think this is still a great place to come. Just be prepared. Sometimes there will be some lines.
Yeah.
Because folks have got to try to take care of thousands of people that are here every day. Particularly for the Australian beef, the American beef. I've seen Argentinian beef here before, and they're just giving away steak, and they've got an electric griddle, and there's been some really good beef over here before. So everybody lines up for that. Sometimes gelato. Here, of course, it's lots of acai, and there's so many vendors with acai this year. You could probably do a lap around the Brazilian station here and have more acai than you've ever had in your life.
Fantastic. Apparently, looking on the site as well, one of the other themes is like health and reformulation. So with people switching over to plant-based ingredient alternatives and stuff like that. Are you seeing that trend there? And are you feeling that as well, right?
Big time. This year and last year, you could tell that there was a lot of things that said, sugar or without processed ingredients. Lesser processed things. There's lots of purees. Because everybody wants a product, I think that they can sell a lot of, right? And so things that are already concentrated purees, that's become really popular. So then people in industries could use those concentrated fruit purees to make various ingredients or make various products in their countries.
Is that not too unhealthy as well then? Would you say a puree is okay?
I don't know how they're stabilizing it, man. But a lot of them know you can get them frozen. Yeah. And I think that would be the way to go. Plus, living here in Korea with our climate, there's so many fruits and vegetables that we can't grow here. And so to have like frozen passion fruit pulp, that's a great thing to have rather than just a highly processed and shelf stable a version of it, right?
Yeah, fantastic. And you, I guess, in terms of that trend, you've been ahead of the curve because you're always banging on about, whole foods and from the farm and things like that. So in terms of what you make and you supply to people, even at like Thanksgiving and stuff, there's nothing you've had to change or take out, right, to suit those trends of wanting something healthier.
Thanks, man. But honestly, I did it the other way. I didn't do it because organic was popular or something like that.
Yeah.
I just started growing things and I was like, well, might as well try to do it without these things that some people say are harmful. And then the flavors of those things that we were able to grow just blew me away. And that's what got me hooked. And so I've just been on that path because of the flavor.
Yeah, and I think Korea has become, it's always been healthy. We always talk about the cuisine here as being a better alternative to, a pizza or a hamburger or something like that, even the fast Korean food. But I think in recent times, even with the snacks and drinks and soft drinks, there's such a boom for zero sugar or natural sugars and stuff like that. And it's just going more and more that way. And meat alternatives I've started to see become more mainstream, like plant-based meats and stuff.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, last night at dinner, David and I were talking about exactly that. Like if we miss Korean food when we're outside the country. And I had to say, I don't really miss, like, I love the flavors of food around the world. But what I really miss is the way Korean food makes me feel. I feel so much more healthy. I have more energy. It doesn't make me have these sugar spikes and drops, where I'm just like out of energy in the afternoon. I just feel so much better. I think the Korean diet with all the different panchan, it's kind of like having a multivitamin every day, if you think about it, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just such a diverse diet.
Yeah, and then that's what they say about the experts. The 5 fruit and veg a day, it's the best if you can like rotate that all the time and have different things, right? And I think the Korean diet is good for that. And then I see the last point on here before we let you go, Ryan, is about sustainability and ESG and that kind of stuff. And obviously, if you're doing farm to table, there's nothing in terms of the distance food is traveling, but at a global food exhibition like that, and if you're looking at exporting, you can't help but clock up the food miles, I suppose. You personally, what do you think about that? Like, is it always best to try and buy local, but I suppose some things it's just not possible?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're kind of in trouble globally, and honestly, I love doing this, but it's probably not the best direction for the globe to go in, if you ask me personally. But it's not all about me. I'm just another cog in another bigger wheel too. Definitely what I can control, what I can really control with our farm and events there. It's one of the most sustainable food and beverage businesses anywhere. But it's tough for people to do, and especially when times are tough and fuel prices are high and things like this, you got to try to cut corners wherever you can. And I don't judge people for doing that. When you've got your business on the line, what do you expect folks to do?
Exactly.
You gotta go with what's the best price that works for your customers.
Yeah, which sometimes makes no sense if you're thinking something that's come halfway around the world is much cheaper than something grown locally, right? And as you said, not so good for the environment. Suyon's on board helping out with us, saying it's apparently 30,000 won for a day pass to go to 2026 Seoul Food, and then 50,000 won for all the days, Tuesday through to Friday half day. So if you want to go along, try and find Ryan, nick one of his Brazilian food delights. Ryan, thank you so much for doing this as ever during your working day.
If you do have to buy a ticket to come up here, don't worry, I will take great care of you. Just look for the goofy guy in the hat here around Brazil and say Arirang. That's the password, and I'll give you all kinds of Brazilian goodies. I promise.
Lovely stuff. All right, good luck with the rest of the week, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Peter. See you, buddy.
Bye-bye.